up if you want to try to stream into Instagram.
Okay. Is it still staticky? I can't see. Why is that so small? Miss Independent, is it still staticky? Let me know in the comments if it's still staticky. If it is, I'm gonna have to change to my regular audio, which I don't like that audio, but I'm gonna change it anyway. But let me know if it's still staticky. Those of you watching me from YouTube. Okay, good. Thank you, Miss Independent. Thank you so much. Because y'all don't be saying nothing and y'all don't be hearing me. I be quiet or it be gone. The sound be gone. Y'all don't be saying nothing. So thank you. Thank you for saying something. I appreciate it. Okay, so we are going to get into pricing. This is one of the biggest things most people are afraid to do, not sure how to do, and I'm going to break it down tonight. So, first and foremost, let me say this. You're always, 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 always going to leave money on the table. That's just what it is. When you're doing government contracting, you will never know how much something is going to cost because the government's not going to tell you because you're bidding on a proposal. So, of course, they're not going to tell you how much it's going to cost. They want to see what the lowest price they can get. So, you're always going to leave money on the table. You're either going to bid really low and somebody was bidding really high, which they would have paid for, or you're going to bid really high and somebody's going to underbid you. Someone is always willing to work free for the government. I don't know why. That's just how I go. So when you are pricing or in the process of pricing your proposal, don't think too much about it. I know y'all want to win so bad. So y'all willing to get $1 a month just to win a proposal. And that's cool just so you can win. But listen, we're not doing this for free. We're not doing this for free. And guess what? It costs nothing to bid. So you having to bid over and over and over again because you want to make sure you can make money. It's okay. All it takes you is time. That's it. Okay. So you're always going to leave money on the table. Don't worry about how much money you're going to leave on the table. It's going to happen, period, point blank. All right. Now, let's talk about how most people freeze on this pricing. Okay, so this how it works. You got you go to sam.gov, correct? You get your solicitation that you're going to work on. You're going to read the solicitation documents, break down the scope of work, find subcontractors to do the work, send them the scope of work, wait for them to get a quote back. All right? So now that you got the quote back from the subcontractor, How do I put my money on top? How do I make money? Well, there are a couple of different ways depending on how the pricing sheet is. And a lot of people freeze up on this because they're not sure and they put their money on the wrong part of the proposal. And yeah, they're still making money, but then they're making a lot less money than they could have. So let me try to see if I can break it down. And once again, guys, if you're just joining me, you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. I am here to answer all your questions at the end of the live. So go ahead and put it in the chat. We are if you're just joining me, we're talking about pricing your proposal. Go ahead, hit that like button for me on TikTok if you don't mind. Well, you can't do it on YouTube or Facebook. You go ahead and hit that like button as well. You can do that. Okay, so there are a couple of different ways to price a quote. So it depends on the pricing sheet. Sometimes pricing sheet comes per job, per hour, per foot, per item. Like, it just depends. Also, you guys got to look at the different CLIN line item numbers. Does anybody know what CLIN line items numbers, the abbreviation for that is? You guys see it on a solicitation all the time on the pricing sheet. If you know what that is, go ahead and put it in the chat. And if you get it, I'll shout you out. If not, I'll tell you what it is later. But CLIN line item number. There is an abbreviation for that. If you know what it is, go ahead and put it in the chat. But guys, y'all have to look at that CLIN line item number to see what the government is actually asking you to charge for. Okay, a lot of people think, oh, I want to make $5,000. I want to make $10,000. I'm just gonna smack $10,000 on top of the whole proposal. Call it a day. Yeah, you can do that, but if the proposal is requiring you to send items, like maybe 10,000 items, like for a certain amount of time, then that's 10,000 that you put on top is going to be divided by all the number of those items. So you might only be making $1 to $2 per month or per whatever, per delivery for that item. So it's not a matter of smacking $10,000 on top of the proposal. Now, if it is a job and it's only, there you go. All right, Eugenio. There you go. But what is the abbreviation for it, though? What is the abbreviation for it? Contract line item. See, CLIN. Okay, CLIN. You made me mess up. CLIN. CLIN. Contract line item number. That's what it stands for. Good job. Good job. Okay, so once again, you want to make $10,000 on a solicitation, on a proposal, that's fine. Okay, but if the contract line item number, the quantity, I mean, not the quantity, I can't even think of the name. The unit is item or per or hour, you're going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. We don't want you to leave that much money on the table. Like I said, you always going to leave money on the table, but dang, we ain't about to leave that much money on the table. Okay. So if it is job, guys, write this down. If the contract line item number unit is job, J-O-B, that means just whatever the job costs, then you can smack the money right on top. You want to make $10,000? Smack it right on top of the job cost. You good to go on that. But if the contract line item number unit is an hour or a square foot or a per or a month, you might not want to do that. Now, by accident, guys, this has happened to me. I can say I want $10,000 on top, and I accidentally put $10,000 on top of the unit price, and it's per month, which means technically I'm getting $10,000 per month, which probably means I'm putting almost $100,000 on top, which that's not what I meant to do. That has happened to me before, and I'd be like, oops, I don't want, I would love that money, but I don't want that much. I want to actually win, so let's price it accordingly. So you guys gotta be careful when you are pricing your proposal, because if you put too little, you might not make enough. If you put too much, you might overbid yourself out. Okay. So the good thing is, once again, job, you can put the whole entire amount that you want to make for the year or for the job right on top. But when it comes to per item, per all the other stuff I just mentioned, you want to put your money on top of that per square foot, hour, whatever. That's what you want to put your money on top. That way, whenever they order that amount, you're going to get money from each of those amount, each of those square feet, each of those hours, each of those months, days, weeks, whatever it is. That way, you're getting money in entirely from the clean line item number. The CLIN. Okay? The CLIN. That's the abbreviation for it. Now I don't know if that made sense. If I confused you, please let me know because I sometimes confuse myself. Okay? So once again, guys, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm going to answer the questions at the end of the live. But that's what you do. Now, you got to be careful because if you have a number set, I want to make $10,000 off of this proposal. I don't care. I just want to make $10,000. You're going to have to do some division, okay? Because that means you will have to divide your $10,000 by the unit cost. That way you can put that amount on top, and by the end of the year, it will equal up to your $10,000. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, please let me know because I know I be confusing myself sometimes. But just be careful when you get to the pricing. It can make or break you. But don't freeze up on pricing because pricing is not hard to do, okay? So get the quote first, right? Then add your margin. Now, we always say it's best to do 3 bids, 3 quotes. That's the best thing to get. If you can get 3 quotes. Now, we all know subcontractors or businesses be acting like they don't want to be in business. And you be like, what the? Okay? But it is what it is. So if you can get 3 quotes back, oh my God, you bomb.com, you running it, you doing your thing if you can get 3 quotes back. If you can't get 3 quotes back, this is what I would tell you to do. If you only can get 1 quote, it's okay. Baby, let me tell you something. You got the quote. And as long as you got the quote, we submitting. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you ain't got the rest of the information. As long as you get a quote, you should be submitting your proposal. All right? But if you only get 1 quote, which means now you can't compare your pricing to other people. So you don't know if this quote is high, you don't know if this quote is low or what. So you can't compare it. So when you can't compare the quote, the thing you must do is bid low for you. You must bid low because you don't have any other quote to compare it. Yeah, you can look it up on Google and be like, well, how much would this cost? And you can go by that. But I would say if you cannot get multiple quotes and you can only get 1, then you and your profit will have to bid low. Okay? Now, if you can get 3 quotes, once again, congratulations. What you're going to do is you're going to take those 3 quotes, you're going to look at them, and you're going to see who is the lowest, who is the cheapest. Now, you have one for, and guys, I want you to answer this in the comments. You have one for, let's just say $100. You have one for $150, and you have one for $200. Okay? Business A is $100. Business B is $150. Business C is $200. What quote, guys? What quote are you going with? Put it in the comments. What quote are you going with? A, B, or C? A is 100. B is 150. C is 200. Put in the comments what quote are you going with. I'm going to answer the question anyway, and then I'm going to read y'all comments, okay? What you're going to go with is you're going to go with quote A. Now, a lot of y'all be like, well, quote A might be whack. What if they bad? What if they this? What if they that? I get that. But this is the reason why you go with the lowest quote. Because you, remember, have to bid competitively. You have 3 quotes. So now you know the range of what this job costs or what this item costs or product or whatever costs. So now you have to go with the lowest quote. And remember, you have to put your money on top, because are we doing this for free? No, we're not doing this for free. So we want to get paid, right? But you still want to remain competitive. So you don't want to go as high as the 200, because now you pricing yourself out, because you know they got two other people who are cheaper than you. And the government is going to go with the cheapest price majority of the time. Okay? Majority of the time the government is going to go with the cheapest price. Now, they do look for experience with some things. I have definitely had the lowest price before. And they did not go with me because they felt I didn't understand the job. It was the first time that ever happened, and the first time I learned that the government just doesn't look at pricing. But like I would say 90% of the time they look at pricing. The other percent, I would say they look at experience and past performance and technical statement and all that other stuff. That's just in my opinion. You might experience something different. But you always gonna go with the lowest price. That way you can put your money on top and have enough margin to stay competitive. Okay. Now, when it comes to pricing, what to put my money on? What should I put my money on? Once again, if it's a square foot, an hour, you got to put your money on top of that unit price. Okay. So that way you can always get money. Now, I'm going to say this also. Sometimes pricing sheets, depending on what type of job it is, it could be elevator maintenance or whatever. Sometimes it actually has like a delivery or annual services or a monthly services on top of the maybe item or a weekly service or whatever. You want to put your money on top of everything. Now, the only thing I don't put my money on top of is when they ask for now this is just my opinion. You don't have to do this. The only thing I don't put my money on top of is when they ask for like if they got to purchase a part or something. I don't put my money on top of that. But I put my money on top of the annual service, the annual inspection, or whatever, the delivery. I put my money on top of all that, plus the items or the hour or whatever. That way you can always get some type of money every single month. Okay? Now, don't believe me, but I mean, I've done this over 20 times. So I think I know what I'm talking about. But everybody's experience is different. Okay? So don't be afraid to put your money on top of each clean line item number so that you can maximize your profit. But don't put too much on top, because you don't want to overbid and then be knocked out the game. All right? All right, so your profit is always going to be different from clearly what the subcontractor is charging. Now, some people, now this is just me, and y'all can tell me how you feel about this. I don't feel like I should make more money than a subcontractor. That's just my opinion, because I feel like I'm not doing the work, the physical work. I, want some money to be able to manage, but I'm not doing the main work. Okay? So the good thing about pricing is whatever you want to pay yourself, you can. There is no specific amount of money that you can pay yourself. You can pay yourself whatever. Like I said, if you want to make $10,000, you can go ahead and put that on top. Will you win? Maybe, maybe not. But there is no formula. There is no special thing that you need to do to be able to price your proposal. Whatever you want to make, that's what you put on top. I mean, it's really that simple. A lot of my students ask me, well, how much am I supposed to put on top? I say, how much do you want to make? And that's what they put on top. It's not hard, guys. It's not hard. All right, I'm going to take some questions because I see some questions. Thank y'all for the questions. So I'm going to go to my TikTok first and go look up some questions. If y'all got questions about pricing, go ahead and put in my comments. I'm going to go to my TikTok first to answer some questions. So bear with me, and then I'm going to go to YouTube. All right. Let's see. Okay. Eugenio got that correct. Eugenio. I hope I said that correct. Let's see. What questions? Do you usually use the middleman strategy? Eugenio, that is a great question. I only use the middleman. Well, I call myself a federal concierge because I like the way it sounds. It sounds better. But it's the same thing. Yes, I only use well, actually, no. Let me take that back, Eugenio. I don't always use the middleman the concept. Sometimes I actually do the service myself. So my company is kind of like a temp agency type of thing. And so I have provided the government my services. So I was the real prime in some of my contracts because I actually hire people from my company to do the work, right? But the majority of the time, yes, I do use subcontractors. We do the middleman, as you like to call it. Let's see. The government may be looking for experience, not the lowest price necessarily. That is true. Like I said, I feel like 90% of the time they're looking at pricing because the government is cheap. I have lost a contract for $5. They went with somebody lower than me for $5. I was heartbroken. I was like, $5? Are you serious? $5? That's it? So the government, they do be nitpicking, but yeah, they do look for experience too. Let's see. How do you price contracts without a quote? Yazid says, how do you price contracts without a quote? Okay. So, okay. No. You zid. I got you. Cause I'm thinking like, I mean, if you don't have a quote, you can't really submit, but I got you. How do you price contracts without a quote? Now, I don't recommend you do this all the time. What I recommend is if you cannot get a quote from an actual subcontractor, I want you to go to a Google search and type in what the job is. Now, hold on. Before I say that, y'all, listen, I'm not telling y'all to just do this. I'm like, get the quote first. All right? Don't just be like doing what I'm about to tell you to do first. Do that like, last minute, like for emergency purposes only, okay? But what I would tell you, if you cannot get a quote, there are two things you could do. Well, there's one thing you could do. You could look it up on Google, say, how much does this type of job cost? You can look at a range, do some research and see how much it costs, and then you can bid on that. As long as it don't require you to have show licensing, have subcontractor information. If it's just a pricing sheet, I would recommend you do that. And a lot of people do that with products because they don't have a subcontractor. They can't find a subcontractor yet, or it's about to close. So they'll just look it up on Google, figure out what the price is, throw it in the pricing sheet and go about their day. But if you gonna do that, just know if you win, honey, bunny, if you win, you got to go find a subcontractor. So you're going to have to haul ass to go find a subcontractor so that you can win or you can maintain the contract that you claimed cost this much. And you better hope that subcontractor is within that price that you quoted. So I do not recommend you actually doing that. I only recommend you doing that if it is like an emergency, like last thought, okay? So you did. That is what I recommend, but I don't recommend. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Let me answer some questions from my YouTube. So Miss Independent says, do you typically, let me see. What is the LPTA that you had the lowest price on? What was it? It was a construction thing. The guy said, I think it was reconstructing the bathroom or something. And it was a real construction company. He said he would do it for this price. And he said he was giving me a good deal. I submitted it. And the government, because it was so low, they felt like we did not understand the scope of work because it was so low. But I'm like, that's what he said. I mean, that blew my mind. Like, so y'all want to like, what? But I was like, okay. I was stuttering just like I'm stuttering now. I was surprised, but it was on construction. And construction, y'all should know, always fluctuates, you guys. Okay. Let's see. Miss Independent says, do you price differently for best? Wait, where you go? Do you price? Let me put it on the screen. There we go. Do you price differently for best value VSLPTA? Okay, you're throwing a lot of acronyms over here. Value versus LPTA. Do I price different? So the way that I price is really not strategic. It depends. Okay, so I'm gonna break it down, y'all. I wasn't gonna go too much into this, but I'm gonna break it down because Miss Independent asked me. I feel like there's 3 types of bidders. This is how I price, guys. Y'all don't have to do this. This is what I've learned in my 3.5 years doing this. There are 3 types of bidders: bid to bid, and I'm gonna explain each one. Bid to win, and bid to make money. Bid to bid is like, you know what? I need to submit 30 for this month. I don't care how much I'm putting on top. I got one price. I'm gonna put $5,000 on top of everything, but I just need to bid. Because eventually I'm gonna win something. That's bidding to bid. It just depends on how you feel, right? I just need to bid 30. I don't care what I'm putting on top. You get one number and you just drop that on every price. That's bidding to bid. Bidding to win is when you're strategic, Miss Independent. So you're looking at the 3 quotes. You're looking at the margin. Oh, this one's 100. This one's 200. So now I have between 101 and 199 to play with the pricing. So I'm gonna put $50 on top. So I'm not higher than the 200, but I'm still, I'm still in the middle of a good price. Okay, that's bidding to win. When you look at the different different quotes, and you play with you actually use the margin between the lowest and the second lowest. And that space in between is what you're bidding your money on. Now that's bidding to win because you want to win. You don't want to overprice. Even if it's not a lot of money, you just want to win. Okay. And then bidding to make money, it's just like, yo, I don't care. I'm about to put $1 million on top. I don't care if it costs $5. I'm just putting $1 million on top because maybe I'm the only one who bid it and they really need the job and they're going to reward me and pay me. Those are the 3 types of bidders that I have come up with across the years that I have been here. Okay. Now, how do I bid? Sometimes I bid to bid. Sometimes I bid to win. Sometimes I bid to make money. It just depends. It just depends on what it is and how I feel. But thank you for asking that. I hope that answered. Like I said, that is something I created. I came up with. Whether you want to use it or not, you can. But that's just something I came up with. Okay. All right. So let's get back to if you do, Eugenio says, if you do the job yourself and you know how. Yes. Yes. If you do the job yourself, if you are the actual prime, Eugenio, if you are the actual prime contractor and you do the job yourself, that's the easiest thing to bid on. I've bidded on 3 things that way: horse trainer, aerobics instructors, and sign language interpreters. I didn't win that one. But yes, I have done it where my company actually provided the service. And it's so easy to bid on that because guess what? I'm the boss. I just say how much I want to cost. I ain't got to wait for nobody to get back to me or nothing. That is the best way to go about it. Yeah, that really is. But yeah. You said I might lose my shirt. What you mean? Can the incumbent price be insufficient? Yes. So, guys, I'm going to tell y'all this. A lot of people like to look at the incumbent's price for the prior year. Well, what did they charge last year? Maybe I should charge what they charged because they won. I'm going to tell you something. My mentor told me, don't look at the incumbent price. I mean, you can look at it, but don't go by the incumbent price. I'm going to tell you why. Because the budget changes. It goes up, it goes down, and you never know what it is. So the incumbent for that year that they bid it, their budget could have been 10 times what it is now that you're bidding. So if you look at the incumbent price and be like, oh, the incumbent price, they priced $100,000. So I'm going to price $100,000. Guess what? The budget for that contract could be $80,000. Now you didn't price yourself out. Like, they definitely not going to go with you. So that's why it's good to not look at the incumbent pricing and just worry about the pricing for the quotes. That's all you need to worry about is the pricing for the quotes. Okay. I get it. Y'all want to see what the person, and for those of you who don't know what incumbent means, that's basically the person who holds the contract currently, like who, or the prior person who did it. So don't necessarily rely on that, it can be insufficient. It can like just, it could be over budget. Or it could be under budget. The other way around. You could be like, oh, $10,000, $100,000. Okay, I'm gonna bid $100,000. But guess what? The budget is now $800,000. So what? You're leaving money on the table, right? Just worry about what the job and the products or whatever actually cost. That's what you should worry about. Okay, but that's a really good question. Thank you, Yazid. That's a really good question. Okay, V asks, how do you actually get the opportunities as the sole source and get the private invite? Ooh, that is a really good question. That is a really good question. Can you tell me? Okay, so I don't know. Like, I don't think there's like a list of the, I'll be abbreviating y'all names. I don't think there's an actual list to put your name. I think it has to do with reputation. If you become sole source, and for those of you who don't know what sole source is, that basically means the government is only looking at you, only your company. You ain't got a bid. They just come to you and say, hey, how much you gonna charge me for this? And you say, I'm gonna charge you XYZ, and they be like, okay. I'm assuming if it's too high, they'll either up the budget, or if it's, too high, they'll probably be like, yeah, okay, we'll think about it or whatever. How do you get on that list? The government doesn't have that list, okay? I don't know how you get on that list. I think it has to do with experience, reputation in the contracting game, your completion rate. If it was a good contract, if you had any problems, I think they look at all of that. Now, of course, big companies like the weapon companies and stuff like that, they've been in business for years and years, so they got reputation. So usually the government will sole source to them, and don't bid on anybody else. Or if it's a certain type of product, maybe like, for example, Sony or whatever, they're using a Sony product, they may only sole source it to Sony because it's their product. But I feel that in order to, I guess, be recognizable to the government, you just got to have experience. You just got to put yourself out there and have good contracts and get good rapport with the contract officers. That's a good thing right there, guys. The contract officers, get good rapport with them, okay? Because they could kind of slide you some stuff. I've had contract officers that I've had good rapport with email me and say, hey, I'm gonna send this to you. Can you just bid on this and let me know how much it costs? And then I get it. So was it sole source? I would like to think that I was sole source, but I don't think it was officially sole source. But I would just say, get a good reputation in the government contracting so that people know you. That way, when they look up your cage code, they can be like, damn, you got like 500 contracts that you did good and blah, blah, blah. And so once you do a good job with the government, they'll remember that and they'll come back to you. Contract officers have come back to me and said, hey, can you bid on this year? So that's what I think. Now, officially, I don't know, but that's what I think. Let's see. Bidding once a contract without getting a quote, losing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, you absolutely right. Geo. You absolutely right. Oh, Miss Cheryl, you changed your name. Let me see. You must that must be because you provided a very specialized service. Let's see. All right. Miss Independence says, do you really? Okay. Oh, that's a good question. Put that on the screen. Do they really verify past performance, or is it good to have a good, well-known subcontracting company? Ooh, Miss Independent. That is a good question. I'm going to tell y'all why that's a really good question. Because, okay, first and foremost, they don't always ask for past performance. Let me say this to everybody. You don't always need to send past performance to in a proposal. Only if they ask for it, please provide it. Don't just be giving them past performances if they ask for it. Okay, let's not give the government more than what they asking for, because y'all know y'all don't do that during tax time. Okay, But do they really check these references? Now, I can't say officially if they do or don't. In my opinion, I would say no. Because I'm going to tell you why. And I hope I don't have no contract officers on this live. Contract officers aren't always the most productive people. They got hundreds of solicitations that they got to get posted, people to get in contact with, uh, contracts to kind of manage. They ain't got time to be calling no past performance. They ain't got time to be calling nobody. They don't. They don't. I know this for sure. I'm not going to say how I know this because I don't want to get in trouble. But I know this for sure. They don't always be calling them. Now, I will say some people do call them. Some people do call them. I guess it depends on the type of job that actually needs to be done. Like, I just bid it on something that's huge and I'm waiting for my award. We had to put some past performance on there. And luckily for me, I have contracts that they can contact the contract officer. Will they do it? Maybe, because it's a really big type of contract. But I won't know. But do I feel like they verify past performance? Miss Independent, I don't. I don't think they do. I think they ask for it just in case. But I don't think they sitting there. Because remember, you got 50, 60, 70 people bidding on the same thing. We really think that they gonna go through 50, 60, 70 past performances? I don't think so. But that's just my opinion, Miss Independent. But that's a really good question. Nobody has ever asked that question. I'm glad you brought that up. But don't make assumptions though. They could. I just said they could. All right, guys, I'm gonna answer a couple more questions and I'm gonna get up out of here. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Remember, if you're not following me, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. I will be live every day for the next 4 or 5 days, 7 days in a row, going over different parts of the federal contracting, federal concierge, as I call myself. We talking about pricing tonight. And tomorrow, I forgot what we talking about, but make sure to join me 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, okay? So keep asking them questions. I'm going to keep answering as long as I can. All right. Hi says, when/if you get in phases where you feel unmotivated. Ooh. Hi, this is good. This is good. Okay, sorry. When and if you get in phases where you feel unmotivated to make calls, what things do you do to motivate yourself to keep working on solicitations, especially since you've won multiple? That's a good question, Hi. I'm going to tell you. So my situation is a little different because for those of you who know my story, y'all know I was let go by my job. I found government contracting. I wasted 6 months like a lot of y'all doing. No judgment, but y'all know y'all wasting time and not doing what y'all supposed to be doing, although y'all know what y'all supposed to be doing. And when I finally got serious, I won like my third proposal that I submitted. And then I won 12 in 1 year. Okay. I was going crazy. So my situation is a little bit different because I never felt unmotivated because I had no choice but to do what I needed to do because, rent, that was during the pandemic. So rent grants was stopping. I had to make money. So I had no choice but to be motivated. But I get what you're saying. For those of you who are unmotivated because the sub is not getting back to you, my what's the word? Lord, I'm losing my words. My advice, that's the word I'm looking for. My advice to you, and this has helped me a lot, is submit, forget, but follow up. Like, I'll be like, what is that? That's my model. So what that means is you get a proposal, you find a solicitation, you submit it. But then you need to forget that you submitted it. Just forget. So basically you just submitting. And then you're going to follow up to make sure you didn't win. Now, when you have subcontractors who don't get to you or who don't respond to you, you have two choices. One, you can stalk them. I don't recommend that. That's very annoying to me because I shouldn't be chasing you to give you money. That's weird to me. there are a plethora of subcontractors. So you should be calling up to 12 anyway. Somebody's going to give you the quote. Just think about the outcome. Man, if I win this is going to change my life. Man, I got to keep doing this because I know that I'm going to be successful, right? So you just got to motivate yourself. Unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't lose motivate. I had no option to lose motivation. I had to be motivated. You have to decide how long you're going to chase a subcontractor. My thing is 3 times. If I call you once, I talk to you, you say you're going to get back to me, I follow up, and I hear from you, and then I follow up for the last time, I'm done. I don't want to work with you anyway, because why am I chasing you to give you money? So it just really depends on how long you want to chase. But when you feel it unmotivated, you just got to look at the bigger picture, man. People are making $1 million a month off of government contracting. You gotta keep that in your forethought and be like, okay, this is me. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You know that positive affirmation. You know Michael Jackson used to do that, right? He used to do that. He was like, I'm gonna sell 10 million records, right? And it came true. That stuff, although I'm trying it too. It clearly works for people. It clearly works for people. So that's what I would recommend. Just look at what you know you can accomplish in government contracting and just keep that in your rear view. I work on 10 a week. Oh, 10. That's amazing. Hi, that is amazing. That is freaking amazing that you can work on 10 a week. You are let me give you some dap. Hold on, let's go. Ooh, you are doing a thing. That is amazing. 10 a week? Baby, that's good. I'm very proud of you, Hi. I'm very proud of you for that. Guys, that's what it takes. I'm telling you, once you win your first one, it's gonna be like, whoo, the gates are gonna open up and y'all gonna be on and popping. I promise you. But listen, I got something for you. Hold on, we got one more question. Which contracts are best to get those types of margins? Service-based, anyway. Yes, I always recommend service-based. Okay, so let me tell you the different type of contracts before I get up out of here. There are 2 type of contracts, products and services, right? I always say the products are one-hitter quitters, right? One night stands. That's what I call them. Because you're chasing them. You get it, you service it, you get paid, and that's it. Now, those are the big ones. Like, they be like $10,000 payout, $50,000 payout. Those are the big payouts. But you got to chase it. It's like, I'm sorry, men. I got to say this. But it's true. Y'all know it's true. It's like you chasing women, right? You always chasing after a woman. Those are what products cost like. That's products, okay? You always chasing and chasing and chasing. One hitter quitters, and then you got to go after the next one. Services are the more like long-term relationships, you secure. So I highly recommend going after services first. But if you just like want a one-night stand, you go after a product, get your little $20,000, maybe do another product, get your little $50,000 and then call it a day. But those margins, definitely I recommend service-based products. No, you don't have to. Ooh, Eugenio. No, you don't have to put money on upfront when it comes to products. Guys, I've had 3 products: sheds, tents, and seeds. Alfalfa seeds, tents, and it was like a bunch of sheds for like a training something. Guess how much money I put up? 0. I put no money on top because the subcontractors, one, I built a rapport with them. So we cool. We like, hey, what's up going on? We cool. And then they know about net 30s. They get paid how I get paid. I get paid in net 30. The government is paying me in 30 days. I'm paying y'all in 30 days. That's how the business works. That's how subcontractors work. They know that's how it works. And I know for those of you who don't know that, are not sure and are kind of hesitant to do that, but that's how it works. Okay? All you say is, this is a government contract. We're going to be on a net 30, especially if you win. They know that. That's a great question, Eugenio. Thanks for asking that. But listen, guys, before I get out of here, listen. Wait, I got one more question. I work a full-time job. I do a minimum 10 a month. You know, Miss Independent, that's great too. I'm going to tell you, Miss Independent and High, let me tell you something. Y'all might think, oh, that's not enough. That's not enough. First of all, nobody's racing. Who's in a race? Nobody's in a race with you. You do what you can do. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what no gurus say. You should be submitting 50 a month. I don't care what they say. You go at your pace. Okay, just don't go at 0. You go at your pace. And what you two guys are doing, whether you know it or not, from my students, shout out to my students out there, and I'm not talking to you. You are doing more than people who've been in this game for years are doing. They submitting 1 a year talking about this don't work. I don't know. I'm giving up. Y'all submitting 10 a month and 10 a week or are working on 10 a week. You should be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. I don't even know you. I see you, but I'm proud of you. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Keep it up, guys. I'm telling you. Is it common to get a net 30 on products versus services? Guess what? What's up, Monica? Monica. It's Monica. Talking. Who's singing that song? Is that Black? I don't know. Anyway, listen, net 30 is just not for products, y'all. It's for, period, services and products. Everything that I've done, the 20 plus contracts that I've won, always net 30. My subcontractors, I pay in a net 30. My employees that I use when I use my company, they get paid in a net 30. Everybody gets paid in a net 30. So, great question. It is common to use net 30s across the board. All right, across the board. Now, guys, before I get out of here, I want to say something. I really appreciate you guys being interactive with me. I don't know what happened tonight. TikTok usually is hating on me and don't let people know I'm live. But I'm glad you guys showed up and was asking questions. I love it when y'all ask questions because I'm here to answer everything. Now, tomorrow I'll be going live at the same time, 8 p.m. Central Time. So make sure to join me. I think we're talking about submitting tomorrow. I don't know what we're talking about. But we will be talking about that tomorrow, okay? If you're not following me, please hit that follow button or hit that subscribe button on your YouTube or my Facebook page and follow me so that you can get notified when I go live. Now, before I get up out of here, for those of you who've never submitted, listen, submitting is just the hump, right? You got to get over the hump. You got to get one down. Once you get one down, I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy. You're going to be submitting like crazy, okay? So what I want to say is I have a workshop, a 3-day intensive workshop in the Dallas, Texas area. You come and you submit a real live proposal that you could win. I've had students in my workshops actually win proposals, okay? They actually won the contract. If you are looking to try to get this stuff together, to get to somewhere that can help you understand what's going on, join me at my 3-day Watch Us Submit 3-day intensive. You can go to the link in the bio, you can scan the QR code on the screen and go get your ticket. The next one is in July, okay? Come to the workshop where we will work through all 5 steps. Y'all didn't know that was 5 steps to submitting, right? Before I get out here, let me tell y'all the 5 steps. Find a solicitation. Break down the documents. Find your subcontractor. Price your proposal and submit your proposal. Those are the 5 steps, and we're going to be going through every single step by step, and we're going to be calling real subcontractors. Well, y'all going to be calling real subcontractors. We're going to be talking to real people. We're going to be getting real quotes, and we're going to be submitting real proposals. If you want to join this workshop, this is the best workshop in America, in the U.S., for submitting a federal proposal. Go to the link in my bio. Go get your ticket today. Okay? Now, I will see you guys tomorrow where we will be talking about, I think, submitting, or I don't remember. But make sure you join me. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate you. And before I get out of here, does anybody want to ask any last questions that I have not answered tonight about pricing? Before I get out of here, I want to make sure I get you what you came for, because I don't like to leave questions unanswered. But if that is all, I really appreciate you guys following me and watching me tonight. I hope I gave you some good information. I hope I kind of relieve some of the stress maybe you might be going through when it comes to government contracting. I just want to say this. Listen, it only takes one contract to change your life. One. For those of you who always be like, dang, I wish I could do something and make a bunch of money, but I ain't gotta do no physical work. This is it. And it only takes one contract to change that. All you gotta do is put in the work. And the work, guess what? Doesn't cost any money. It just costs you the time. All right? So if you want to learn how to go about submitting the right way, get with me. And just continue doing the work that you're doing already. I'm proud of a lot of you guys on here. Continue doing the work that you're doing already, because I know you're going to be successful, especially if you keep at the level that you're keeping at right now. All right? All right, guys. I got to get some water. I'm about to get up out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a great night. Thank you for joining me. And let me see. I know TikTok, you're not going to be able to hear this, but I'm going to play my theme song, y'all. I got a theme. I got a theme song, y'all. But this is my theme song. I know TikTok you can hear. I mean, y'all can hear it, but you can't hear it. But I appreciate y'all joining me. Have a good night while I jam to this. I know TikTok gonna be like, what is that? 8 o'clock, 8 Central Time. This is my theme song, y'all. Yes, I made this theme song. Listen. Let me see if I can let y'all hear. Listen. It might be an echo. Oh, I can't do it. Proposal for, oh, I can't do it. All right, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. I'm going to go ahead and get the live now. I'll see y'all later. All right, guys.